So today I'm going to show you the cities that are sinking, why it's happening, and what they're doing to fight back. Then at the end, I'm going to give you my Futurama level plan that I genuinely think could change how we build cities in the future. Stick around for that part because it sounds ridiculous at first, but it actually connects a lot of dots. And I will connect how this connects back to anime, as I am an anime channel talking about architecture. So this is going to be crazy. Quick favor before we start, if this video teaches you something new, hit that like and drop a comment. It helps me reach more people, and this is one of those topics that gets ignored until it's too late. Alright, let's get into the sinking city pandemic. Jakarta, Indonesia. Jakarta is one of the biggest offenders on this list. In some areas, especially in the north, the ground has been sinking fast, 20 centimeters, around 8 inches per year. And a lot of it comes down to one thing, groundwater being pulled out from under the city. When you over-extract groundwater, the land can compact and drop, and then rising sea levels and flooding makes things worse. Add heavy rainfall and storms into the mix, and Jakarta is getting hit from every angle. Blah, blah, blah. Indonesia's response is one of the most extreme moves that a modern city can make. They're moving the capital to Borneo to take pressure off of Jakarta. They're also building flood defenses and seawalls. But here's the problem, big projects can buy time, but they don't always fix the root causes. Keep that in mind because that's the same pattern that shows up again and again. Miami, Florida. Now I actually used to live in Miami. No, well, not Miami. I used to live in like West Palm Beach and Boca Raton. Miami's situation is unique, and honestly it's terrifying in a different way. The city sits on porous limestone, so the water does not just come in from the coast, it can also seep in from underneath. That means if you build a wall, the water can still find its way in. Miami's sinking at a rate at 1 to 3 millimeters per year. Miami's pouring money into raised roads, pumping systems, and seawall style projects to keep neighborhoods dry. But a lot of the experts say the same thing. These defenses may only buy time, and the idea of buying time matters because in a lot of cities, time is the most expensive resource. New York City, New York. New York is sinking too, and the reason almost sounds simple. Weight. The sheer mass of the city, especially Manhattan, pushes down over time 1 to 2 millimeters per year, and combined with rising sea levels such as 3 to 4 millimeters per year, the flooding risk goes up. New York's counterplan is basically armor up, big seawall projects, upgraded stormwater systems, and raising parts of the waterfront. It's like the city is trying to level up its defense stats before the next boss fight. Now here's a quick question for you, which is harder, stopping the water from coming in or stopping the ground from going down? Because that's the next city. Because the next city shows you what happens when the ground itself is the problem. Mexico City, Mexico. Mexico City was built on the bed of a drained lake, and because of that, it can sink dramatically in some areas. 50 centimeters or 20 inches per year in some areas. When groundwater is extracted, the soil compacts and the city slowly drops. That's why you see streets buckle and buildings tilt. To fight back, Mexico City has tried conversion measures, deeper wells, and even experiments like replenishing aquifers. But the scale is huge. This is one of those places where you realize the city can be modern on the surface while the ground underneath is literally unstable. Venice, Italy. Venice is the classic example. It's been dealing with sinking and flooding for a long time and has sunk roughly 5 feet since the 1800s. And it's basically a global symbol for this place might not survive as is. Venice's big weapon is the Moose project. Those massive floodgates designed to block high tides, it can work in the short term, but Venice still has a long-term risk from subsidence and climate change. So even when the solution works, the story is not over. And speaking of cities that sink quickly, let's talk about that one that surprises people in the United States. Houston, Texas. Parts of Houston are sinking largely because of decades of underground water pumping. When aquifers get depleted, the land can settle. Some areas sink faster than others, and the scary part is that subsidence can mess with the infrastructure before people even notice. Houston sinks at 5 millimeters or about 1 and 5 inches per year. More specifically, 43% of Houston is sinking at a rate greater than 5 millimeters per year, and 12% is sinking at a rate of 10 millimeters per year or more. Houston's response has included restricting groundwater extraction and shifting more towards surface water sources. In other words, stop pulling the floor out from under the city. Now let's go back to Southeast Asia, because this region shows how fast the problem can accelerate when you mix water, growth, and storms. Manila, Philippines. Manila is sinking at a rate of 10 centimeters or 100 millimeters per year in some areas. And excessive groundwater extraction is a major driver, especially with rapid urban growth. Add heavy rainfall, typhoons, and rising sea levels, and it becomes a constant pressure test. The city is working on limiting groundwater pumping, expanding alternative water sources, and reinforcing coastal defenses. But again, this might slow the problem but not end it. Honourable mention, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Now, Toronto isn't sinking like Jakarta or Manila, but I'm putting it here as an honourable mention because of something people forget. A lot of Toronto past Front Street was built on a landfill. That land is man-made, and as Toronto densifies and builds taller, it raises a real question. How does reclaimed land hold up over decades, especially with flooding already hitting places like the Don Valley? I'm not saying Toronto is doomed, but I'm saying, we should be thinking about it or paying attention to it. Please. My Futurama solution. Alright, now, here's the part I teased, and I need you to hear this. Now lean in, and I don't want you to laugh. What if the long-term move is not just defending cities, but rebuilding how cities are stacked? Think about shows like Futurama or even Arcane. The idea is simple: build on top of the city, creating a second layer, a new platform city above the old one. If done safely and realistically, it could do two things at once. 1. It reduces the pressure to expand outward into risky land. 2. It creates a real vertical housing system. Lower levels become cheaper, upper levels become premium. Now I'm not just saying slap a city on top like it's Lego. This would take real engineering, safe planning, and years of work. And it would not work everywhere. But for places sinking fast, where the ground is losing the fight, a layered city design could be one of the few ideas that actually changes the rules instead of just reacting. Now, how does this tie back into anime? Well, if your city is sinking, you can't watch anime. It's very simple. It's simple. If your city is sinking, you can't watch anime. Duh. So here's my question for you. Would you live in a 2-level city if it meant your city could survive long term? That's my breakdown of the sinking city pandemic and my Futurama method for thinking bigger than seawalls and pumps. Now tell me in the comments, which city shocked you the most and what solution do you think actually works long term? Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Show this to a professor, show this to somebody who's in the actual architecture world, who's in the design world. Show this to somebody and get the idea, what they think about this 2-layered city idea, because I think this is revolutionary that no one's talking about it seriously.